We're talking to defender George Burroughs here at Altrincham's Egerton training ground in Knutsford prior to the team's departure for their second Vanarama National League game of the season away to Woking. First off, George, a very warm welcome to the club. You arrived, I think, well, you correct me on this if I'm wrong, but roughly halfway through the pre-season programme. I just wondered, and you were obviously a trialist. First off, how difficult is that if you arrive at a club, you're obviously thinking, you've got thoughts of joining and the club are interested in you, but you're a trialist and presumably you've got to kind of make the right impression?
Yeah, it's difficult. It was Macclesfield was my first game. It's obviously difficult because you're trying to impress, but you don't want to do too much where you're not showing yourself and justifying what you're actually about. I think, it was tough. I actually dislocated my finger in the game.
During the game?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
One of their players grabbed it and twisted my finger, I think. But
deliberately, do you think? Or was it just one of those hard to tell?
I'm not going to accuse anyone of actually doing it. But,
painful, I would have thought.
Yeah, at first I didn't actually realise I'd done it, and then I looked down, and throughout the game it got worse and worse. And yeah, it wasn't the most ideal way to start your trial, but that probably made it more difficult. But then played Man United the time after, and I don't want to say it was comfortable, but we were ahead at the time when I came on, and there was only about 10 minutes left, so it was quite an easy game in that sense.
Tricky one at Macclesfield then when you do that, because I guess normally the physio might say, "Oh, you better come off," or try and put it back in, but you don't waste any opportunity to make the right impression, do you?
Yeah, you don't know if this will be the last opportunity you get, so you've got to try and make the most of it. So although I was struggling to play, you want to continue, and I was trying to take a throw in, and I was struggling to do that. But yeah, as you said, you've got to try and play on, because you never know if it's your last chance.
So you play through the pain barrier for the sake of getting a contract with Altrincham.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the Manchester United game, by that stage, did you have any inkling of whether you'd done enough to get a contract?
If I'm honest, I didn't think I did enough at the Macclesfield game, just due to I felt I was probably distracted from my finger, that I felt like I needed to do a lot at the Man U game, but I wasn't sure, to be honest. I was hoping I'd be able to make an impression in the Man U game, and I think I did a few good bits. Obviously I only played 10 minutes, so yeah, but at the time, no, I didn't think I had. But
so how long before you put out of your misery, can you remember?
I think a couple of days after the Man U game, I found out that they were going to try and sort something, and then probably the end of that week we actually had a contract, and then that was it.
And I guess obviously you were hoping for that, and so you were delighted to get that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I think Altrincham, big club. Obviously, it's a good standard for me, and to play in this division is what I wanted to do. So yeah, I was delighted to get the opportunity.
So when you left Coventry, and obviously I'll ask you about that, it's a big part of your life, but when you left Coventry in May, presumably you thought, right, well, I want to get fixed up for the start of next season, season in other words. But why Altrincham? Did you know much about this, or how did that come about?
Well, I was just trying to get any club possible, really. I spoke to I was on loan at Telford last season, and I spoke to my manager, who was at Telford, and said, "Oh, can I have help? Anyone you know who maybe can help me get a club, because it's tough to find a club when there's so many players out, the good players out there looking for clubs when they get released at the end of the season." So I spoke to him, put me in contact with the gaffer here, and then the gaffer here gave me an opportunity to show myself, and that's really where it started.
Went on from there. Was that Paul Card?
Yeah.
Card you talking about? So we owe Paul Cardon one for that recommendation, and that's good stuff. And now, how much training did you have before that Macclesfield game? Was it only a couple of weeks before that you started?
A day before.
Oh, was that all?
Yeah, so only a day. Didn't really know much, many of the lads, so yeah, it's tough going into a game when you know no one's name. I'd like to communicate in a game, so when you don't know their name, that becomes difficult, which is obviously another factor in why being on trial is hard. But yeah,
I think in your Coventry days you were referred to as captaincy material at whatever level you might have been playing at. So you've got that about you. Have you like to communicate with those around you?
I was captain at under 18s, and then a couple of times at 23s, but yeah, I think as a defender you've got to be able to communicate. It's important to be able to talk to your partners in there, and then the people in front of you. If you can't do that, then you're going to struggle, I think.
And everybody, obviously and rightly, places so much importance on a pre-season programme for training as well as playing pre-season games. Did you manage to do much before that you came here, or are you catching up a bit?
Slightly catching up a bit. I mean, I'd been at other clubs and done a few things there. Some of the stuff I'd done was like proper pre-season, but I think I had a week off before I came here, which makes it a bit tougher, but I try and, if I'm not somewhere, I'm trying to stay fit at home, doing running, etc. But yeah, nothing can match the games and stuff like that. So slightly behind, but not too much.
Yeah. I mean, how have you found the games and training? Like right now, for instance, I mean, are you able to cope with it okay and feel fine, or do you look at some of the lads around you who've had a bit more time on the training ground and think, I'm not quite there?
I think I cope with it. To be fair, I'd like to think so. I think the first day it might come as a bit as a shock, but I don't know. It's similar to Cov in a sense. You're used to the sort of level, and you can get grasp of it quite quickly. So no, I wouldn't say I've struggled. I think I've coped with it well and done well.
That's good. So you're good to go if the nod comes at Woking or at York on Tuesday, whenever
definitely.
it might be. Yeah, good stuff. And you were Altringham's 9th permanent signing of the summer. Ethan Ross is here as well on loan for the season. Can you just tell Alty fans what they can expect from you? Because we know that you're right back, but also a central defender. Have you got is there a preference for either of those?
I don't think I have a preference anymore. I used to be a centre back when I was younger, but I think I've got a lot quicker, so I've gradually moved to right back. I like to get forward, I like to dribble with the ball. I'd like to think I'm comfortable on the ball, but first and foremost, defend and go from there. I think starting out as a centre-back, I think it's helped me move to right back in the defensive side, because you understand what the centre-back wants, and yeah, so I think defensively I'd like to think I'm good, and then yeah.
Well, there's probably a clue in a Q&A that you did where you said that you based your game as a kid on John Stones, and I think John Stones obviously loads of great defensive qualities, but I think what people admire most is his ability on the ball, his coolness, ability to bring the ball out from the back. Have you tried to bring that, or it might even have been natural that that's part of your game?
I think growing up through playing for Coventry, I think it's always been play out from the back. Always, I think academy football in general is play out from the back. So you kind of naturally grow and become a player who likes to be comfortable on the ball and play out from the back. So I think it's natural to me to do that, and so throughout the ages you've just become good at it, I suppose.
Yeah. Just sort of rewind a fair bit. It's always interesting to know a new signing's sort of background and from childhood, really. Were you always going to be a defender from day one, or did I read somewhere that you actually started out as a goalkeeper?
Well, I've played everywhere, to be honest. I think when I was younger, I was a centre mid. I started out as a goalkeeper for my brother's team.
Right.
So when I was proper young, so I would play for my brother's team, 2 years older, play for them in goal. Then I don't know, you don't get as much credit in goal. It's a bit boring, so I decided to move, and then I played centre mid. And then as I got to about probably under 12s, moved back to centre back, and then there ever since.
Well, I suppose that's one way that you become a defender who's comfortable on the ball. That if you've been playing every position, you get the ball at your feet, you grow accustomed to it, and so on.
When I first moved to centre back, I thought it was quite boring to me. I thought it's more entertaining in the midfield. You could do more, and that as you said, it's probably harder on the ball in centre mid. So to come back to as a defender, it became easier, I think.
It's also interesting to know when you've got a player who's got a sibling who's equally as good, maybe slightly better or whatever. We had Jake Moult, you know about Jake. He was captain here for a good few years, and his brother Louis, of course, had a great career, still playing, in fact, Motherwell and in Football League teams here. And Jake would say that when they were kids and they were playing together in the garden, there was no quarter asked or given. Was that very much the case with you and Jack?
Yeah. I'd like to think I beat him quite a lot in the garden.
You were younger though, weren't you?
Yeah, he'd probably say the same about himself. Yeah, a lot of times it probably ended in one of us going in a strop. More likely me, because he was older, so he would like to. He was stronger, but yeah, I think stuff like that is what helps you now, because like playing against someone who's older than you, more physical, you learn how to deal with that from an early age, and him being just as good, or as you said, maybe better, I'm not sure, but
Grudgingly, so.
yeah, you get better with him, and we've helped each other get better, especially when we were younger, because I think every night we were probably in the garden playing. So yeah, massive contribution to my career, him.
And similar in a way, because he's a fullback or wing back.
Yeah, he's a wing back, full back, winger, centre mid. He plays everywhere. No one really knows what position he is, to be honest. I think wing back mainly at the moment, which is good because it kind of relates to full back in a sense, so you can kind of learn off him, and yeah.
And he's just gone to Lincoln City on a season-long loan, which should do him some good. Or is it season-long on loan anyway? Yeah. And he's obviously got eyes on forging a career in the Football League, and you too, of course, because we are an ambitious club and things are happening on and off the field, going in the right direction. Every reason to think that could happen here.
Yeah.
You share the same ambitions, I guess, and do you have a certain pride in each other's career and achievements?
Yeah, definitely. Well, he'll definitely be aiming. He'll want to do well at Lincoln and then try and push on and hopefully start for Coventry in the season after and play as many games. We're both Coventry fans, so that's the dream for any Coventry fan to play for that club, and yeah, so he'll try and do as well as he can at Lincoln and then push on for Coventry, and it's the same for me. You want to do as well as possible here, and hopefully with this club you can go and play in the Football League, and you never know, but yeah, I think every footballer dreams of playing as high as possible, and it's the same for us.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I'm sure you'll be following his fortunes closely, and he'll be following your fortunes closely as well. And tell us a little bit about the fact that you qualified to play for Scotland. That's the family background, is it? Somewhere
Yeah,
along the line?
my gran is Scottish, so we both qualify. I played for Scotland when I was 17, I think maybe even 16. Scotland 17s against Hungary in Spain, so that was a good experience. Jack, the same. He's played more times than me. He's played for the under-21s, under-19s. So yeah, hopefully I can add to that at some point.
Was the Hungary game in Budapest? Was it?
No, it was in Pinatar in Spain.
Oh right, okay. But you're kind of travelling abroad, so
Yeah.
you know that age that you were then, that'd be quite an experience.
Yeah, it's a great experience. Probably, if I'm honest with myself, didn't do myself justice in that game. Maybe the nerves got to me, but I was young, and I think you learn a lot from that. And I think if I could go back now, it would be a lot different. But yeah, the experience is massive, and it's something that most probably 16-year-olds don't get. And I was only year 11. I was still in school when I did it.
Right.
I was meant to be doing my GCSEs when I actually did it, and so I think I missed my mock exams when I was doing it. So yeah, to get an experience like that at that age is massive, and I've used it to help me throughout my career since.
So let's hope we get one or two Scotland scouts at the J Davison Stadium. Hey, keep an eye on that. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? But you know, you had solo, I think it's 15 years, wasn't it, at Coventry? You're a Coventry lad. Again, that Q&A, I think you said if you won the Euro Millions or whatever, you'd buy Coventry City. So I mean, that tells you something what the club means to you. So how much of a wrench was it when, after playing so long and doing so well, up to under 23's captain, that you didn't stay beyond last May?
Yeah, it is difficult. Your whole life you know it as Coventry. Yeah, it wasn't a nice feeling. I think that it hurt the family just as much as it hurt me. But I think I realised that football isn't just Coventry, and sometimes you have to go away, and maybe in 10 years' time I can come back to Coventry and play again. You never know. So I try to look at it that way, that it might not be the end. There might be another opportunity, but you've got to make something of myself, and then ultimately prove people wrong and come back stronger.
Well, there are building blocks always, aren't there? And this could be one. And if you've got that attitude within you that you want to prove that you are capable of and worthy of playing at that sort of level,
Yeah.
That won't do you any harm, and it won't do Altrincham any harm, hopefully.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I wondered as well, would the highlight have been perhaps the league development final at Bristol City, where you won 3-2, you won a medal, a trophy, and you happened to score the winning goal?
I did score the winning goal. It was not the greatest of goals, but one of my favourites.
Yeah.
It's good because it shows the hard work you've done that year, and you get rewarded at the end of it. So we came second in the league, and then you play in playoffs, top two from each league. So there's a north and south you play, and then the top two go into a playoffs, and then we won the final. It's always nice to get a Premier League medal, and you'll never forget moments like that.
Well, here's there'll be some memorable moments for you here at Altrincham. George, thanks for sticking with it in these sweltering conditions. I've got my sun hat on. You're right under the sun there, but much appreciated. Wishing you the very best for your time at Altrincham.
Thank you.
That's George Burroughs.
Cheers. Thank you.